beautiful bloomers. It's been a while. I've been allowing myself time to just feel my way through life, and when I feel like doing something, then I'll do it rather than giving myself that pressure to do stuff all the time. And today I'm feeling ready to share something again. I wanted to talk about the importance of sharing how we feel and our emotions, especially in light of the male species, because it's something that's it's not talked about enough, and it's so important. And we have this stigma in our society where, you know, things like boys don't cry, it's weak to have emotions, and it's a load of rubbish. So much so that, there is such high numbers of percentages in the mental health industry about how men and boys, they have a higher rateage of killing themselves. They have a higher rateage of crime and aggression. And there's just so much stuff out there in the world which kind of proves how important it is to share how we feel. I know the world is improving. However, there is still this thing about guys have to live up to a certain way. They have to be manly. And manly means, having sex, being in power, having money, being strong, and all this stuff. But there's so much stigma to it that it's frightening, to be honest. And it needs to change. And I, for one, I feel very strongly about changing that. I get so passionate in, the places where I work, or just in everyday life, when I see things like a little boy is crying and they're encouraged to not cry. And I know, I understand that for some of us, for a lot of us, including myself, once upon a time, there is just this automatic, we don't want to see people feel pain. So our automatic response is just to be like, oh, don't cry, you're okay. And actually, these are so damaging. More than we realise, more than I knew. I had no idea. And obviously I understand now. So for me, when I see this, I have to say something. And if if I can't or don't, then, I feel so, it breaks my heart. And I feel so angry about it, because there's nothing I can do about it. I can share my insights and my knowledge, but I can't control other people. So, but I wanted to just share this today, how important it is, not just for guys and men and boys, but for everybody, to share how you feel. If you're feeling angry, share that. By all means, it's not always necessary to share everything, but we need to get into the habit as a society of expressing ourselves in a healthy ways. Write it down, exercise, talk to yourself out loud, smack a pillow, like, just stuff that doesn't involve hurting ourselves or other people. And I really do encourage people to talk about stuff. There are so many things out there. For me, I have a 12-step program, ACA, and it is I cannot express how much it has done for my life. I'll openly admit right now, I've been struggling. I've been struggling with abandonment issues from my past trauma, which, I was surprised at, because it's something I have, worked so hard overcoming. that I thought it was gone, but it's not. Um, and you know, maybe it will be there forever, maybe it won't. But in order for me to get over that, I have an automatic reaction, I suppose, to just like isolate, and still even now, like even though I know it does me no good or anyone else to suppress things. But for me, it's a subconscious thing. Like I'm not always aware that I'm doing it. I feel emotions, and sometimes they just automatically just disappear. Like, and I become somewhat apathetic, I suppose, and I don't even know I'm doing it. I've become so much more aware of my feelings, and you know, to recognize what signs in my body or what signs in my head show that I'm feeling a certain way. But I'm not always aware of it because my subconscious takes over. You know, our subconscious minds are like constantly on, like they don't stop. And our conscious minds are not, and we can turn it on, we can be aware of things, but you know, when we're sleeping, for example, or settling down to go to sleep, our conscious turns off completely. So our subconscious is in power most of the time, unless we train ourselves to be conscious, or we reprogram our brains so that our subconscious is not toxic or dysfunctional anymore. And obviously that takes time. That's a long process, but it can be done. It can be done. If nothing else, it can be minimized, which is why I think I've got to. I can minimize. Like, it's so quiet. Predominantly, I have more of a, I suppose, an optimistic mind, positive mind, than I do negative and pessimistic. But it doesn't mean to say that I don't ever get negative things going on in my life or in my thoughts, in my mind. So, yeah, please talk to people. You know, even if it's one person. Like, I personally, I know a lot of people, and I was, to be fair, put off by this thought as well for a long time about, you know, group therapy. But I really think that there's there's something about it that is just so powerful. And I'm not saying, you know, it may not be for everybody, but if you have never done it, like, I really, really urge you to try it. And I don't mean just once, like, try it a few times. Because even there's so much power in sharing, and sharing to strangers, people that you don't know. Like, I've always found it a safe place for some reason to share to strangers as opposed to people I care about, because there's less of a sense of rejection, I suppose, when it's people you don't know. But I gain so much from hearing other people share, and also it helps me to share too, in a space. You know, we live in a society where it's not the norm to speak the truth. We can, you know, we can do our best, but it's just, there are certain people and certain situations where it's just not appropriate to speak the truth, I suppose what I'm saying. Whereas in a support group, then that's different. Like, it's a safer space for me personally, at least, to be able to just, you know, vomit all my emotions out without the worry of being judged, and, you know, knowing I'm not alone, because people I don't even know, they understand. And I think as human beings, that's what we want. We want to just be understood. It's something that we need as human beings. We need to be understood and heard. Yeah, so that's my that's my rant over. I also want to recommend, while I'm on this, to recommend the film. I've just watched a documentary which my friend sent me. It's called The Mask You Live In. It is a documentary based predominantly on males, and there's a lot of statistics in there that I don't remember. And it's just, yeah, it's worth a watch. Please watch it. Thank you for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Much love.